Hello, friends. Today's true story comes from Shahjahanpur, a district in Uttar Pradesh. There is a small town there named Uttar. In this town lived a man named Prakash Narayan Srivastava. He was a school teacher by profession. His family consisted of one daughter and three sons. The eldest was his daughter Meena, and the sons were Santosh, Rajiv, and Pankaj. Since Meena was the eldest, as soon as she grew up, Prakash Narayan began searching for a suitable groom for her. After a lot of effort and searching, they found a match, Shanti Swaroop, from a farming family in the village Saikia in Lakhimpur Kheri. Meena was married to him and she lived happily in her new home. Seeing her smile, her parents finally felt relieved. With time, Meena became the mother of three daughters. But around 10 years ago, she fell seriously ill and passed away. Her death shattered Shanti Swaroop completely. His children were still very young and he had no idea how to handle the house and outside work at the same time. For privacy, we are changing all names in this story. The eldest daughter, Sneha, was around 15 and slightly mature for her age. She took responsibility for the house. Ritu, the middle daughter, was about 10 years old and the youngest, Sudha, was 6. Slowly, time moved on and life began settling again. Uttar and Saikia were only 11 to 12 kilometers apart, so both families kept visiting each other regularly. In Prakash Narayan's house, Santosh ran a grocery shop. Rajiv worked at a private school and the youngest, Pankaj, did decoration work. As a family, they were doing fine, but Meena's death had left them emotionally distant from the world. Pankaj was the youngest and everyone's favorite. Meena had always been closest to him, which is why her death had broken him deeply. When Meena was alive, Pankaj used to visit her home very often. Her children, especially Ritu, were also very attached to their young uncle. Ritu loved going to her maternal home. She felt that her uncles pampered her, especially Pankaj. He fulfilled every little wish of hers. As she grew older, Ritu continued visiting her maternal home frequently. Now she was about 15 and her appearance had started changing. She had become a charming, beautiful teenager. At her maternal home, Ritu spent most of her time watching television. She liked the boys who appeared on TV shows. Sometimes she felt one of them even resembled her uncle Pankaj. One day, while she was watching TV, Pankaj walked in. Ritu smiled and said happily, "Mama, you look so smart, just like a TV serial hero." Until now, Ritu had always seen herself as a child in front of Pankaj, but suddenly she started seeing him differently. And at that moment, Pankaj also looked at her carefully. That was when he realized Ritu was no longer a little girl. She had grown up. That single moment changed everything. Pankaj forgot that Ritu was his real sister's daughter, his own niece. In that brief instant, his mind lost its balance. His thoughts drifted in a dangerous direction. Ritu began unknowingly occupying his heart and mind. The boundaries of relationships blurred. He overlooked the fact that she was not only much younger but directly related to him. This one moment pushed their lives onto a path of confusion, emotional turmoil, and eventually destruction. Exactly like what happens in most forbidden relationships. What began as a harmless bond soon turned into something that would shake the honor of both families and leave an unerasable stain on their small town. From the day Ritu praised him, something shifted inside Pankaj. He began seeing her not as a niece, not as a child he had watched grow up, but as someone else entirely. A forbidden attraction started poisoning his mind, and he tried to hide it, but it kept getting stronger with every passing day. Whenever Ritu visited her maternal home, Pankaj found excuses to stay near her. If she sat watching TV, he sat nearby pretending to scroll through his phone. If she went to the terrace, he followed her under the pretext of drying clothes. Even when she walked to the market with her cousins, he somehow appeared there too. At first, Ritu thought he was simply being protective. She trusted him because for her, Pankaj was still her caring mama who fulfilled all her wishes. But slowly she started feeling something unusual. He stared too long. He praised her looks too often, and sometimes his compliments didn't feel like those of an uncle. They felt something else. Yet Ritu was young, innocent and confused. She didn't know how to put her uneasiness into words. One evening while she was folding clothes in the courtyard, Pankaj casually said, "You've grown up so fast. Sometimes it feels like you're the only one who understands me." Ritu felt her cheeks burn. She didn't know what to say. Something felt off, but she didn't want to disrespect him. A few days later, Pankaj messaged her on her small keypad phone. "You looked beautiful today. Just like a heroine." Ritu froze. No uncle talks like that. She didn't reply. She didn't know how. But instead of stopping, Pankaj took her silence as acceptance. His messages became more personal, more intimate, and more troubling. He would ask where she was, who she was talking to, what she was wearing. Ritu began feeling suffocated. Back at her home in Saikia, Sneha, the eldest sister, noticed that Ritu seemed lost lately. She wasn't laughing, she wasn't talking much, and she kept hiding her phone. Sneha gently asked, "Ritu, is something bothering you?" But Ritu brushed it off. "Nothing, Didi. I'm just tired." Meanwhile, Pankaj's obsession had grown dangerous. He started reaching Saikia more often, sometimes under the excuse of buying vegetables, sometimes to meet their father, and sometimes without any reason at all. Every visit made Ritu more nervous. One afternoon, Ritu was returning from school when she saw Pankaj standing near the banyan tree outside the village. He walked up to her and whispered, "I think about you all the time. Do you think about me too?" Ritu stepped back instantly, her heart pounding. "Mama, what are you saying? This isn't right." Pankaj smiled, a smile that was no longer affectionate but unsettling. "Love doesn't see relations, Ritu." She ran home, shaken to her core. This time, Sneha forced her to speak. Ritu broke down crying and told her everything, every message, every stare, every uncomfortable moment. Sneha felt rage boiling inside her. How could their own maternal uncle even think such things about his niece? The sisters decided to hide everything from their father. They knew he would lose his mind if he learned the truth. He might kill Pankaj or even get killed in the process. But Ritu's discomfort was turning into fear, and Sneha didn't know how long they could keep it hidden. That night, Pankaj called Ritu again. She didn't pick up. He called again. And again. 27 missed calls. Ritu's hands trembled as the phone kept vibrating. She switched it off and threw it under her pillow. Next morning, when Ritu went to the backyard to wash her face, she found something shocking. A small gift box, tied with a red ribbon. Her heart sank. She recognized the handwriting instantly. "For Ritu. From someone who loves you." She didn't open it. She was too scared. She ran to Sneha and showed her the box. Sneha opened it and her stomach twisted. Inside was a cheap silver ring and a note. "One day, you'll be mine." Sneha knew this was no longer a harmless obsession. It was turning dangerous, possibly violent. They had to tell someone. The sisters decided to tell their father, no matter the consequences. But fate had other plans. Before they could speak, something happened that changed everything. Pankaj went missing. For 3 days, no one saw him in Kutar, not in Saikia, not anywhere. His phone was switched off, his shop was locked, and rumors began flying in both villages. Had he run away? Had something happened to him? Or was he hiding? Shanti Swarup heard the rumors and sensed something was wrong. Ritu's trembling, Sneha's fear, the strange tension in the house. Everything pointed to something dark. He demanded the truth from his daughters. And when they finally told him everything, a storm erupted. The moment Ritu and Sneha confessed everything, a silence heavier than thunder settled inside their tiny home. Their father, Shanti Swarup, stared at them as if the earth had slipped beneath his feet. His temples throbbed, his breath grew harsh, and his hands trembled with uncontrollable rage. He could not believe what he had just heard. His own daughter and his late wife's youngest brother are involved in something so twisted? No, not involved. Only Pankaj was involved. Ritu had been trapped. Shanti Swarup rose slowly from his charpe, his eyes burning red. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" he asked in a voice that no longer sounded like his own. Ritu burst into tears. "Papa, I was scared. What if something happened? I didn't want to ruin our relationship with Mama's family." But the relationship was already ruined, shattered. Shanti picked up his lathi and stormed out of the house. Sneha and Ritu ran after him, pleading, begging him not to go, but he didn't listen. The villagers watched him march down the dusty road like a man possessed. He reached Kutar, reached the Srivastava house, and banged on the door with all his strength. Santosh opened it, surprised. "Jijaji, what happened?" Shanti pushed past him and shouted, "Where is Pankaj? Where have you hidden him?" The entire Srivastava family gathered in confusion. Rajiv stepped forward. "Shanti Bhaiya, Pankaj is missing. We've been searching for him for 3 days." But Shanti didn't believe a word. "You all helped him. You all protected him. He harassed my daughter, and you want me to believe you don't know?" Voices rose, villagers gathered, and tempers flared. In the middle of the chaos, an elderly neighbor spoke up quietly. "I saw Pankaj near the river the night he disappeared. He was pacing alone, looked troubled." This one small statement changed the direction of everything. A search party was formed. Men with torches, bamboo sticks, and ropes headed toward the riverbank. The water was calm, silent, and eerily still, as if it was hiding secrets. They spread out, calling Pankaj's name. Hours passed, sweat rolled down their foreheads, and the night grew colder. Finally, near a patch of tall grass, someone shouted, "Here! I found something!" It was a slipper, Pankaj's slipper. 2 feet away, they found his phone, dead, muddy, and cracked. The search grew desperate. Fear spread like wildfire. What if he had slipped? What if he had drowned? What if someone had killed him? At dawn, a fisherman waiting near the deeper waters screamed. A body was tangled in the weeds. The villagers rushed. The police were called. The swollen, pale face, the clothes, the unmistakable identity. It was Pankaj. The news spread across both villages like lightning. His family collapsed in grief. Shanti stood frozen, unable to understand whether he should feel anger, justice, or guilt. Ritu couldn't breathe. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She had never wanted this. She only wanted the fear to end, not someone's life. The police began questioning everyone. Was it suicide, accident, or revenge? The post-mortem report revealed he had drowned, but with no signs of assault. His phone records showed dozens of unanswered calls to Ritu. The final messages were heartbreaking and disturbing. He had written, "Forgive me. I have destroyed everything. I can't live like this." The conclusion hit both families hard. Pankaj had taken his own life. But the emotional storm was far from over. The Srivastava family blamed Shanti. Shanti blamed Pankaj. The villagers blamed circumstances, and Ritu blamed herself, though she had done nothing wrong. In time, the police closed the case as suicide. Life slowly resumed. And months later, when the wounds began to heal, something remarkable happened. Both families finally sat together. They spoke honestly, openly, and painfully. The truth came out like a heavy confession withheld for too long. Pankaj had been emotionally unstable since Mina's death. He had slipped into loneliness and depression. Ritu's innocent admiration had filled an empty space in his heart. But he crossed a boundary he should never have crossed. Everyone agreed on one truth: no child should ever carry guilt for an adult's mistake. Ritu grew stronger with time. Sneha protected her like a shield. Shanti learned the hardest lesson of his life: that silence is far more dangerous than truth. And the Srivastava family, once shattered, began rebuilding their broken trust. The myths faded, the whispers died, and the truth, messy, painful, and human, finally settled like dust after a storm. But even today, one question still lingers in the minds of villagers, and maybe in yours too. Was Pankaj a victim of his own loneliness? Or the creator of a tragedy that could have been stopped if someone had spoken up earlier? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts. The comment section is waiting.